weather out here is miserable. I'm doing videos on Dottie at the same time, which is down there, and so there'll be a bit of a crossover. But essentially, I've done nothing with that car for a month since it came from the body shop, largely because I just haven't had a day off since. What I have done is gone and bought a few bits and pieces that I know I needed, like this trim piece here and a couple of other bits and pieces. And then down at the garage I have floor mats, genuine Rover ones. Driver's one's a bit worn, but you know, I don't really care. I have front mud flaps, which I was missing, odds and sods and nuts and bolts and stuff. That's for Dottie, that's a rad bracket. That's for the Tourer, a bit of trim that was missing. So pretty pleased with them, and I just want the weather not to be so goddamn miserable, and then I could actually get on with doing something. I've also bought myself a lovely original Rover booklet or dealer brochure for the Tourer, and there we have the 420 GSI. It did have the mud flaps, didn't have any rear ones, sort of shiny exhaust cover, and those are the GSI wheels. Of course I've got the BRM ones, but yeah, that's basically how it should look, and that's the kind of ride height that it has, certainly according to this book. That's the 416, which looks a bit higher, so I don't know, maybe mine has got the wrong springs on, because it definitely looks like it's higher than that. Somewhere in here there's a really cool picture of the interior trim from the GSI. There you go, look at that, that's so cool. I'm going to look at a pair of front seats, spare ones, because I've got some bolster wear on the driver's one, so if I can get them cheap enough I might swap out the driver's seat for a better one, or take at least the fabric covers apart, fit it on there. But look, here you go, this is your lovely load space you get with the estate. Pre-tensioners, airbag, la 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 la. Yeah, cool little book. Back looking at the 400 again. This is obviously a driver's seat, and it's got the wear and damage down here, big cut and lots of little nibbles. I was going to try and patch that with like leather filler or just black polish and see how good I could get it to look, because the centre fabric's really nice, the seat base bolster's really good, that's nice, no big tears or cracks, and the leather there's great. But rather than try and repair it, I've picked up a pair of front seats from a 400 estate, and this is not perfect by any means. It's got a cut there, but it is better than my one. The seat base is pretty good. It's not quite as good as the one in my car. It's got some sort of delamination bits here, and I think it's done a lot more miles because it's a bit more sort of threadbare on the base. The back will be fine with a bit of a clean, so my intention is to take that backrest and fit it to that one, and then hopefully we'll have a nice seat. And really after that I think the interior is basically mint, so just needs a damn good clean. I've picked out the old trim from the top of the windscreen. It's old, brittle, nasty, and it hadn't stuck in very well. And when the body shop did the roof, they had to remove the old one, so I've bought a new one. It came in a bag that was wrapped up in a tight loop, and consequently it had some nasty sort of tight curves and creases, so I've softened it up with a hairdryer, and now it sits quite nicely. So this bit tucks under there, same on the other side, so I need to cut the end back a little bit so it will sit flush, and I was just balancing it on there to make sure that it's long enough and I know exactly how much tuck I need under either end. So I'm going to go find some Tiger Seal now and just put a few drops in there to hold that down, and then a bit of tape, and then that should go off overnight, and it should be nice by tomorrow morning when it's due to rain a lot again. So I've just made those notches bigger so it will sit down nicely. My tiger seal is looking a bit sad, so I'm not going to be able to pipe it on neatly like a pro would. I'm just going to dollop it on with an old chisel and hopefully not make too much of a mess. Wish me luck. I'm not very good at being tidy, so I think I might put some tape out or something, seeing as I have it. Just using brake cleaner because it's good for getting tiger seal off, but it won't damage the paint, or it shouldn't damage them. Job's a good one. Well, not a good one, it's a average one, maybe, I don't know. But it's in there, it all sits about straight. The only slightly bothersome thing is it looks like it might rain soon, so hopefully that will set enough before it gets soggy and all the masking tape comes off. But before it does rain, I want to take apart that seat and see how difficult it is to swap the backrests, so that's what I'm going to do now. I don't know how to do this, so yeah, it might be quite interesting. Might be a piece of this, might be quite problematic. We shall see. I also need to find somewhere better to balance the camera. Better bit bonnet, fresh paint. Here, these have pegs that I think get driven or driven out of the plastic sockets, so I need to drive them in to be able to pull that cover off, and then hopefully there's just a bolt or something. looking quite promising. With that side cover off, there's 2 bolts there, so hopefully with them undone, the backrest comes off. So one more peg in here, and then we should be getting somewhere. And it's going to be the same process both sides, so I shan't bother recording it. As expected, this side was the same, apart from there was only 2 pegs and clips. Undone the bolt for the pre-tensioner so I can get to these ones and hopefully them out the way. These again are those funky trilobular bolts, so they're not round, they're actually triangle profile. They're supposed to be self-locking, and to a certain extent they cut their own threads. I don't think they actually do, but I think the high impact steel ones can be used with a bolt gun and just zip stuff together so you don't have to tap holes. Excuse me. Super. Good. I think it's really going to smarten up the interior, because we have, you know, the tiny bit of leather filler or something in there. To all intents and purposes, that's very nice indeed, compared with not so nice indeed. But yeah, good. That pair of seats, just for your own interest, cost me 80 quid. If I'd taken that to, I don't know, a trim shop, they would have had to have either filled and painted all of that, in which case it probably wouldn't have looked right, or replaced that with another bit of simulated leather or whatever it is, and it wouldn't have looked right, and it probably would have cost me a lot more than 80 quid. So I've got the interior pretty much, you know, good to go. It really is just putting it back together again. I've picked up a new exhaust as well, which I'll show later. So it's really tyres and the bolt in the front end back together again. It is going to rain, so I'm going to go inside now. In fact, it is raining. Yeah, I'm going to pack up now and do the rest tomorrow. Another day, more rain, and I'm awaiting the arrival of Storm Dennis, which will be fun, I'm sure. That's meant to be coming at about 10 o'clock. Oh no, sorry, 1 o'clock. What am I on about? Rain is supposed to start at 1, but the winds are meant to pick up by about 10, and it's about 9 now. So I am going to crack on with stuff at the front of the car, because I still haven't done any of that. So just peeling off all of my masking tape. There's a bit of cleanup to do, but more importantly, it has remained stuck onto the car, so that is good. One less thing to do and a little bit more weather protection. So yeah, I'm going to go and find all the nuts and bolts and bits and pieces for under the front and start putting that back together again. Here we have our engine bay. All of this battery tray and everything was just put in loose to act, just to get it up to the body shop. So I'm going to take all that out again. I've got myself some copper ease, so hopefully none of that area should screw up again. While I've got good access, I'm also just going to clean off any of the sort of grinding remains, so that it looks kind of clean and shiny. There's no point doing this if you put it all back together and it still looks a bit shite. So I shall do that. I realise this probably isn't very interesting, so I'm just going to stop recording and show you the after. So that's now in. I've dressed it with a bit of WD-40 as well.
put all the grommets back in to take the air box. I've also put the bolt back in that holds the fuse box, and now I'm going to mount the air box and continue titting around in this general here area. Thought before I put the air box back in I would at least have a look at the air filter, and it doesn't look that bad, so I think it's been fairly recently replaced. I'm just knocking some of the worst of it out. It's always reassuring when you see one that's got deep element, because you get a lot more airflow than the cheap pattern part crappy ones, which are only about that deep, which are actually quite restrictive. So yeah, it's like a slinky. Got my nice shiny I've got one nice shiny repainted upper rad bracket. The other one's probably got some chips in it. They go in here. I just want to find some nice M6 bolts. I have bought a load of crap off Rimmer Brothers, including new bolts for the headlights, because you'll see them. In fact, are they the right ones? They might be the right ones for the rad as well. I think they probably are. Yeah, so they're all M6, so yeah, jobs are good, and I've got the nice bolts to go in. If you've been watching this series, you'll remember the car came to me damaged and with a different front bumper, and Simon's given me the infill panels for the front, but I'm not actually sure where they go or how they're meant to attach. That one I'm pretty sure goes in here, because it has cutouts for the oil, or sorry, is that oil or power steering cooler lines? And that one goes in there somehow, but what is meant to be holding them in, I don't know. So I'm gonna go away and do some internet research and see if I can find some pictures which will help me. Looks like I had it wrong. Looks like they actually go the other way up, and they're held in with fir tree clips. I'm very confused. In fact, I'm calling bullshit on what that Rimmer Brothers and like exploded diagram says. There's no way that can go in that way round, unless I'm being a complete moron, which is possible, but that cannot sit that low down, and if it, oh, maybe it can. This might take some fiddling, so I will continue to play and then report back. Okay, I've made an executive decision, and I've put them in how I think they are meant to go, because that just looks right to me, and all the fir tree clips and that fit nicely as well, so that's the way it's going, and that's the way it's staying. I think this is the beginning of our storm, by the way, so I don't know. It's meant to get up to like 40-50 winds across where I am, so I don't know how much longer I'll be out here before it completely sheets it down, but I shall continue anyway. Look, car is gaining face. There's quite a few fittings and fixings all to get lined up, so it might take some time. And also I assumed the the bumper had to come off to do these, but it doesn't, so I might nip that up and put that on now and then do the headlight after. I don't know, it might be one of those 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of jobs. Also managing to make quite a mess of my hands, because there's just so many sharp shitty little things to catch yourself on, but we're getting there.
Starting to get a wee bit windy. Whoa. And cold. Looking somewhere close, a bit gappy here. Don't know whether the whole bumper needs to come up a bit, but I'm going to slap it together and then do alignment afterwards. I don't know whether you heard the snap, but I've actually broken the little plastic tang that holds the tail of the indicator into the wing, which is really annoying. It's sitting there quite happily at the moment, but I might have to get another unit in the future. made a slightly annoying discovery. This headlamp is broken in a couple of places here, but more importantly there, which is the actual base of the case. And yeah, basically I'm not going to be fitting that one, so I need to get on eBay and find myself another unit to go in. So unfortunately I think I'm going to stop there for today. There ain't really a lot more I can do until that's in, and then I can mess around with the alignment, but it is still progress, albeit limited. One last thing that was bugging me. Now I have somewhere to put that.
I can see why Simon liked the Mark 1 front. It's going to look dumb with a big spastic grille in there, but never mind. I think I prefer the Mark 1, the purer front end, never mind.
I was going to do more today, but it is pissing it down, and all of the stuff I want to do is under there, and I'll just get piss wet through even in my yellow coat. So instead I'm going to go and take the fuel tank out of Dottie. So this is a bit of a crossover video. In fact, this might well be the start of the Dottie video. Back again on the 400. Storm Dennis has gone. Pick that up. Yeah, I was trying to reinstate this wiring for the battery negative. That should run from here up to here, but I think the end has been remade at some point because it doesn't quite reach. So I have got another wire, new, well, it's not new, what I mean is new to the car, but original Rover, with the little bolt. So I'm going to swap that over. The other earth I've got to attach up here somewhere. Then I'm going to do some more fiddling around with the bumper, try and get it up high so it lines right, find the fog light blanks, fit them, and generally tit around putting this all back together again. Got my surrounds. These are held in with metal spring clips which clip up in here, and then screws, which I've bought nice shiny new ones. It's just a case of getting these little things in there. Next job, and I might have just spotted something annoying which makes this slightly more problematic than it otherwise should have been. Got to get the underbelly plastics, or you know, wheel arch trim things, screwed in to the bottom of the bumper, but I don't know if I've got the right bits. Doesn't quite look as I was expecting it to, but we shall see. I basically looked online and bought myself some of these. Bought these, which I thought were the right ones for the front bumper, but I'm not sure now. Doesn't look quite right. And I thought these were the right clips, but again I don't think they are. Oh God. Yeah. Well, that's annoying. I think I need some more of these. I bought, or I was keeping 2 left over for my headlights. Basically any flanged head M6 bolt should be alright. So I'm going to use these. They're spare wing bolts, but they have a large washer, so they should work underneath there. Cool, right, I'll go and get some copper slip and see if we can get all this back together. Turns out I was wrong, but in a good way. These clips don't attach into a plate, they just screw straight into the underbody plastic with a big coarse screw, which is good because I've got some of them. Just checking with that one, but yeah, should be able to just bosh a load of screws through. Nearly screwed up a bit then. Obviously I've never taken the bumper off one of these cars before, so there are fixings I wasn't aware of. One of them is in there on that bracket, and it holds the outer edge of the bumper in position, and the rear bumper wasn't in line with the wing and was flapping about all over the place. So I only just spotted that that was there, so I've put a bolt through so that holds that as it's meant to. This side looks okay, but I know that I didn't put a bolt in there, and you can actually see the back of the bolt down here, and there isn't one in there, obviously. So I might have to take that bumper off again, but it's no big deal. I want to change that indicator anyway because I broke the tang off it. So when that arrives, when the other headlight arrives, I'll probably be fanning around in here anyway. Next bit to do really is the underside of the bonnet, because I need to put the sound deadening pad back in, so I'm going to go find that and all the clips. Last couple. Also have this basically rust free on the back, and with all of its mounting studs and nuts, which is good to have. While it's off, I think I'm just going to paint over the back of some of this with Hydrate 80 just to keep the rust at bay. Right, that's got some Hydrate 80 on it. I've also put copper slip on the back of all of those, so I can now make my car really ugly by putting that on it. Kind of annoying, but that's how they were done. I don't know, maybe it's not so bad. It's all about brand identity back then, so I actually prefer the cleaner look, but that's the way it's going to be. That seems like a sensible place to stop tonight. The only other thing I have to tell you about, and wait right there, I now have the correct Rover radio. Let's get that in the light. Rover radio, I've been assured that it works, and more importantly, I have the original Rover security card with the code number, which is important because every time you take the power off, even handwritten by the previous owner, it's the original code. This is the original stereo from this car. I got it from Simon. At the moment it's got a Pioneer CD unit he put in, so he's given me that one back. I think it's the original one from this car. If not, it is cock on perfect. And he's cut out the wiring tails so that if the loom has been cut in the car, I can wire and solder the right ones back in, so it's all nice and original. I was thinking about meshing up the fog light apertures, but I really don't think it needs it. Maybe someone could put some brake cooling ducts in there or something, make it look motorsport. Anyway, I'm going to stop and pack away my tools on this way, on this car, and then I might, if I can be bothered, go and do some welding. I'll have a cup of tea and then see how I feel.